Hello everyone, welcome to another episode with Broke Girls Art School. In today's episode, I will be showing a step-by-step tutorial on how I completed this floral shoulder piece. I've been doing a ton of floral tattoos lately and I am loving it. I always have so much fun with these. And yeah, so let me know what you guys thought. Drop a comment if you have any questions and don't forget to like and subscribe to see some future content from me. Let's get started. So the first step that I always take when making a tattoo is my outline. I typically stick to a more neo-traditional style, so I like bold and crisp outlines. But lately I've been really enjoying doing little fine details and like really nice crisp fine lines with like either a bug pen 3 or just regular 3-liner. The machine that I'm using right now is my Cheyenne Sol Nova. And I am using Prime and Flex cartridges for both my liners and mags. The liners that I was using for this piece was a 9-round liner to go around the edges of the flowers and like on the outsides of the petals for my more bold outline. And then I was using a 5 and a 3 as well for the more fine details. One very important thing when it comes to line work is always making sure that you have a good stretch on the skin, because if you don't stretch the skin properly, then you can get more wobbles in your lines or things just won't go in as smooth as you want them to. I definitely always recommend taking your time with lining in pretty much every aspect of the tattoo. It's not a race. I'm sure your client would rather have you take your time and do a better job than rush through something because you want to finish it quicker. So take your time and do whatever you got to do to make your lines nice and bold and solid. Another tip to help preserve your stencil is before I finish lining, I just put water on my paper towel instead of green soap. And then when I'm doing shading, I'll use green soap. Just because green soap wipes away the stencil a lot quicker than if you just have water in there. So I feel like that helps it not get wiped away. Yeah, and another thing when it comes to stencils, always be cautious, especially if you have a client that's like a little bit more warm-bodied and might be a little bit sweaty during their tattoo. Their stencil will wipe off a lot easier. So try to always give it a few minutes to dry before you start working, and always be cautious and make sure that you're not, pulling that rookie mistake and wiping it away. So around these little like vines coming off the edges, I was using my 5-round liner. Same for the lines on the inside of the petals. Yeah, guys, when it comes to line work, consistency is key with your depth, speed, all that good stuff. You want to make sure you're especially consistent with speed, because if you sit in the same area for too long, or if you dig a little bit too deep, then you could blow out and scar someone. So personally, I'd always rather go a little bit too light than a little bit too deep, because you definitely do not want to scar anybody and have them have a raised tattoo. You never want to chew somebody up. Here, I'm just going to let this soak under green soap for a little bit so we can get the rest of that stencil off the skin, and I can see any lines that might need touching up. And now we are on to color. So for these leaves, the inks that I was using was Frank Sinatra Woodlands Dark for that nice dark like olivey green. And then I also mixed it a little bit with algae, which I believe was from Eternal. It might have been from Fusion, I'm not totally sure. The Frank Sinatra is from Eternal. But yeah, I love the Frank Sinatra Woodlands Light and Dark, are two of my favorite greens for sure. If I'm looking for something that's a little bit brighter, sometimes I'll throw in a few drips of like Honeydew, which is also from Eternal. That's definitely more of an opaque, like very bright green with a little bit of a blue tint to it as well. But I've been having a lot of fun mixing colors lately, especially if I know that I'm going to finish something in one go. Then I'll sometimes get a little crazy with experimenting, because I know, I won't need to recreate any of the colors. Another important tip that I always recommend when doing color is to work from dark to light. In my opinion, it's much better to get all your darks out of the way, because say if you put down like bright yellows first or whites first or anything like that, and then you tattooed this like dark green color afterwards, it would kind of sit on top of the open skin and make it look a little bit muddy, and it's kind of hard to get that ink out of there, and you don't want it to heal in the tattoo and darken the color of the ink. So yeah, dark to light. With black and gray is a little bit different. Sometimes I'll go in and get all my light shades out of the way first and work my way into darker shadows, but yeah, it's different for color. And your personal preference, whatever works for you, but this is just the way that I like to do things. So I believe this lighter green was the Frank Sinatra light mixed with a little bit of the algae. Got a nice clean wipe. Looks much brighter now. And now I'm going in and just doing some gray wash on the petals of the flowers just to give them a little bit more depth. I personally like doing a layer of gray wash before I do any color, just so I can give it, you know, a little bit more contrast and depth to the design. Typically, if it's more large scale pieces that I'm doing, I'll do an individual session for lining, and then the next session will be black and gray shading, and then the following sessions after that will be color. I kind of treat tattoos how I do watercolor paintings, because when I do watercolor as well, I still like to do a layer of black and gray wash underneath. And now we're going and coloring the flowers. Each of these flowers were representing her kids, and so they each chose colors for their cute little tropical flowers to be. This blue was indigo from Fusion. And I wanted to leave some open skin tone in there just to give it a nice washout. So I left the centers of the petals fading from the color into skin tone. I just wanted it to be a little bit more of a soft feel. And next we're on to the other flower. For this one, I was using Lotus by Jeff Gogwe. I forget if that one is Fusion or Eternal, but I love this color. It's super bright and vibrant, and it also pairs really nice with like a peachy tone. So I'm excited to experiment some more with that color. It's always such a good feeling when you buy some new inks, right? And I tried to slow down the time lapse a bit so you guys could see the direction that I was pushing the ink. I like to start out from the edges, and I was brushing my way out to that nice skin tone. If you notice that your cartridges ever start to get a little bit clogged when working with color, I often will dip in my color and then do a quick dip in water afterwards just to kind of loosen up the pigment. Because if it gets a little bit too chalky, it's hard to spread around the skin, and diluting it a little bit with water actually helps pack it in faster from my experience. My favorite method for color packing is more of like a crosshatch. Unless I'm just doing something simple like this, then I'm just kind of brushing it out. But if I really wanted to pack these flowers in solid, then I would be shading in multiple directions. So I would pull the ink going from the inside of the petal to the outside, and then do horizontal shading patterns after that. And that last flower was Robin's Egg Blue, I believe, for the color. I think mixed with a little bit of Bermuda Blue as well. And last, I was just going in the centers and throwing in some yellow. I used golden yellow and bumblebee yellow. And this is the finished product. Thanks again for checking out another episode with Broke Girls Art School. Again, I always have a blast with floral pieces, so if you ever want one done, let me know. Don't forget to comment if you have any questions, and like and subscribe in order to see my future content. Have a good day, you guys.